Hello and welcome to John and James Live. My name's John Hastings and with my co-host, Mr. James CeeLo. How are you today, James?
Oh, amazing. It's been a while, mate, isn't it? Again,
Yeah, it's all time's
life has gotten in
flying.
the way.
August the 1st, 2025, is it?
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
is. Yeah, time flies. We're getting old, James. We're getting
Both
old,
of our
getting a bit
beards have
grey.
gotten longer.
Yeah, longer and grayer. So today we're going to be talking about how did normal become crazy or how did crazy become normal? Whichever way you want to spice it
Spin it.
up, James. So it's about an article that I wrote on LinkedIn that got quite a few reactions, didn't it? Nearly 3,000 reactions, over 1,000 comments on that one. And it was about marketing, it was about women's body hair, which I knew was going to be a bit of a trigger. And then it was about the barefoot shoes, wasn't it? High heels,
Mm-hmm.
barefoot shoes,
Yeah,
and sugar breakfast cereal. So just talking about things in daily life where you think it becomes a normalcy, but when you step back, it is a little bit weird and crazy. So we'll cover those topics today, James. Okay.
yeah. It's a bit like boiling the frog, isn't it? That old adage.
Yeah.
If you warm the
Yeah.
water up slowly, it doesn't know it's getting boiled.
It doesn't know it's happening. So we will start off, James, the big one. Well, actually, why don't you read out the article first of all, just to give
Shall I do
people,
that?
yeah, read out the
I shall do that.
article, give people a gist of what we're talking about, and then we'll crack on.
Okay, so it starts. How does crazy become normal? Take female body hair. The mass shaving of women's legs and armpits began just over 100 years ago, driven by razor companies like Gillette, desperate to double their market. They used new mass media, magazines, ads, film to convince women that hairless skin was feminine, hygienic, and sexy. It worked. What started as a clever sales tactic became a cultural standard so deep that many women felt shame and disgust by the idea. Meanwhile, men were conditioned to see hair as unfeminine and dirty. An evolutionary feature that protected skin from bacteria became a liability, erased by glossy marketing and repeated exposure. Consider breakfast cereal, a recent invention of the industrial era. It was born not from nutrition, but from ideology and processed convenience. John Harvey Kellogg, a devout Seventh day Adventist, created cereal partly to promote bland diets that suppressed sexual urges. Who knew? The cereal aisle is now a shrine to artificial colouring, sugar, and corporate manipulation dressed up as breakfast. Decades of advertising has taught us it's normal to start the day with dessert in a box. Most parents fed it to their children before school, never questioning why they crash before lunchtime. Modern shoes are another silent deceiver. For hundreds of thousands of years, human feet evolved to move naturally, barefoot on diverse terrain. Then came hard soles, narrow toe boxes, and heels, first for aristocracy and later for mass fashion. We deformed our feet, weakened our arches, and destroyed our alignment in the names of style. Today, the average gym goer wears thick cushioned trainers that disconnect their feet from the ground. Every step alters the kinetic chain, contributing to the epidemic of back pain, knee injuries, and poor posture. If you put modern shoes on your dog, you call it abuse, as they'd be riddled with joint pain within a year. These are not harmless quirks of culture. They're symptoms of belief systems engineered by industries for profit. And once belief is sold through repetition, shame, and identity, it becomes harder to reverse than the habit itself. We think we choose, but more often we are conditioned. Social media today runs on the same formula: sell insecurity, offer a solution, repeat until belief becomes law. So ask yourself, what else feels normal that might actually be absurd? What other cages have been painted gold and sold as progress? The real revolution begins not with rebellion, but with the quiet act of questioning. Because the most dangerous ideas are not the ones we fight, but the ones we never even think to doubt.
Thanks, James. That was longer than I thought when you read
Can
it
you
out.
remember? So it got 2,836 likes,
Yeah.
1,090 comments, and 208 reposts. So
Sure.
I would say that was fairly polarizing.
Yeah, it was. It was. LinkedIn Live is having a technical issue. They've just messaged me, so we're live on YouTube, but not LinkedIn at the moment. There's something wrong with it. So we'll just carry on. Do you want to carry on, James, or do you want to restart it?
We are true professionals, mate. We'll just carry on.
I think we'll just carry on and then re-upload it at a later date. So let's start off with body hair, James. You know, we've gone through. You've talked about the whole Gillette series of encouraging women to shave. People questioned it in the comment section, saying that throughout history there has always been different civilizations that shaved their body, but in general it was for normally a very small niche percentage of the rich that would do it for specific reasons. It wasn't a widespread thing. Yes, there were ancient people shaving themselves with rocks, but it wasn't like a daily ritual that the average person was doing. It wasn't their thing. So this has become very, very normal in today's age. I can't remember what the stats were, but it's something like 80 to 90% of women now shaving their armpits, shaving their legs. And if you ask a guy, what do you think of women's body hair? I would say a high percentage would not be a huge fan. Would you say that, James?
It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? It does feel like that. And we had a conversation about it, didn't we? And it's all social conditioning, I think, for both men and women. Guys socially conditioned to expect that and to think that is the norm and to be attractive, and for women to be told that, passed down by their mothers to daughters, that was the thing that they should do. And part of the kind of the ritual of getting ready to go out on a date, or, just generally in life, that hair is seen to be not feminine, as you said in the article, unhygienic, which, is a weird kind of oxymoron, really, isn't it? And that's a strange sort of anomaly in the fact that, it's there for hygiene. For warmth and for protection and different things. It's like, and to get rid of it is going against the natural world. Otherwise, why would it exist in the first place?
Oh, yeah, was it hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to grow hair, in those places where obviously weren't for fun. There was reasoning behind it, wasn't there? And the way they've manipulated something that's quite natural to turn it into a product. Sort of a clever capitalist marketing scheme, isn't it? Because on the face of it, it's the perfect business model to have something which is shame-induced, which you do. If you don't do it, you'll be shamed by it. And it's cyclical. So you have to keep buying the products and doing it for the rest of your life. So it's like, if you was to create a product and you put your capitalist head on, you would think, you've sort of created the problem and the solution at the same time, and then repeated it forever. It's quite dark, isn't it?
It is dark. There's an advert that just kind of sprung to mind. Was look, I think it was probably, I don't know for sure, but it was more than likely a company like Skoll that do foot products, and there was a picture of a woman with cracked heels that was mortified by having cracked heels, and the thought of leaving the house with cracked heels was an anathema to her, that she just could not imagine. And the sheer embarrassment and the feeling of that she'd let herself down, she'd let her family down, the community. This was all implied in the advert.
Everyone's gasping when she walks out the house.
I mean, short of being sort of publicly flogged in the streets and sort of dragged through the streets, backwards for deigning to leave the house with cracked heels. I mean, that was the sentiment of the advert. It was like, how embarrassing is that? And it's astonishing. It is astonishing.
And it's slow. It's been a slow creep, isn't it? It sort of started with the legs post World War II because of the shortage with the stockings manufacturers. So they said something about the stockings anyway, and the hairy legs. I think that was in the article. And then it moved on. Even like women's pubic hair in the 70s was still okay. People had a decent bush, didn't they? To be honest, at that stage, and now that's sort of whittled down to what do they call it? The Brazilian, whatever it is. So it gets a little bit smaller. Then it gets to the full shillong, all gone, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's common now. Now having pubic hair is uncommon. But in terms of a guy's view, what do you feel about it, James? Because if I was dating and I obviously wasn't married, or if my wife had hairy armpits, I probably wouldn't find it the most attractive thing in the world. But that's probably because I've been conditioned to believe what I believe. If that's all I ever knew, then I just wouldn't care. But how long would it take me to adapt if my wife started growing her armpit hair? A month or 2 months? Would I just see it as normal after a small amount of time? What do you think, James?
Yeah, I mean, until it happens, or if it happens, it's really difficult to think about how you would feel about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like if she was disfigured in some way, or if she was to lose a limb, or whatever, it's like it's still the essence of the individual. It's still that person there that fundamentally you love. So, if that was her decision, I'd respect it. And it would take, in all honesty, it would take some getting used to. But it's also, I think it's not just necessarily how you feel about that person, but it's other people's judgment.
Exactly.
So if you're going out in public and somebody's looking, or they're making a face or whatever, it's that thing that you would have to get over that and not be impacted by that as well. So all of these different kind of elements go into the whole mix of how you feel about it. But
even losing a limb wouldn't be as shame-inducing, though, would it?
Yeah,
as body hair.
I'd like to think I'd be okay with it. I would like to think I'd be.
Yeah, okay. I think if you lose a limb, I wouldn't say that would be it's a big thing for the person who does it. But for me, it wouldn't be shame-inducing at all. Hair, though, I would say if your wife was out and she's, hairy legs, hairy armpits, everybody's looking, it's different, isn't it? It's a different vibe because it's so culturally ingrained now. But then I see women that do sport it, and I think to myself, I kind of like that confidence. There's the confidence thing, isn't it? Going against the grain to say,
yeah,
I like that. But again, we said about when a guy approaches a woman, maybe if the guy's handsome and he gives a compliment, it's it's seen as harmless flirting. If it's maybe a not so attractive guy and he potentially does the same thing, it could be seen as a creep. Is that the same with women? If the woman's perceived to be attractive and she's got body hair, you sort of give them a pass. If they're possibly not as attractive in general and they got body hair, then it's a problem. Would you say that, James?
Again, if you're being honest, you probably say, yeah, it's a different perception, but it's not just body hair. It could be anything, any sort of, but certainly it would enhance, wouldn't it? But it's so hardwired into us now. And like you were saying, sort of with the pubic hair since probably the 90s, I reckon, it had been receding until the point at which it sort of disappeared altogether.
Yeah.
But I think now there is a greater awareness, there's more autonomy over your body, that actually it isn't particularly hygienic or healthy to do that, for infections. And, you know, it's, again, like we said, it's there for a reason. So I think the education and taking back control over your own body is now becoming more of a thing, as that sort of perspective is expanding. And just because everybody else does it doesn't mean to say that, you know, you have to do it as an individual. And I think recognizing, again, the way in which advertising has influenced behavior is another thing. It's like, well, we're not going to be victims of that anymore.
It's huge, isn't it? Because even it's not just the women. We've said about women because it's big for women to shave their armpits, but now you will regularly go to a gym and see guys that have shaved their legs, shaved their chest. Haven't
Well,
even
there's
I trim my
manscaping
body.
now. Manscaping was never a thing. You know, like they've actually got specific clippers now to shave your balls and chest hair and all that. And that, again, is driven by the media. Is that you've got models there that are hairless, and that's seen as attractive. So again,
there is function in it as well, James. I've been, you know, I admit I shave my body. I regularly prune chest hair, armpit hair, leg hair. I don't like to be I cut my hair on my head. I just like to be well groomed, I would say. So I don't take it down to the bone. But when I was playing football back in my early days and having massages on my legs and stuff, it's like cyclists. You'll see cyclists, they've got very smooth legs, because if you get a cut, if you get a massage and you're doing things, it's just easier. There is a function to it.
Makes you more aerodynamic.
And then if you are lean and you go into the gym a lot, you'll see it with bodybuilding shows. You never see a bodybuilding show with a guy with a hairy chest, just because you can muscle when you shave your chest and you shave your stomach and stuff like that. So it's more about trying to reveal your muscular physique. As you get older and you get less muscly, you probably just think, you want to cover it with hair, don't you? I suppose. But in your younger days, you're sort of trimming down a lot more, and it's becoming popular, isn't it, James? I see it. I saw it in France a lot when I was there recently. Guys, is it guys becoming more sort of effeminate? Do you think so, or is it just what's the deal? Is that marketing?
Yeah, I think it is marketing, and maybe we're assuming that women prefer that now. They prefer guys to be less hairy.
Oh, my wife hates it. If I shave my body and I've gone, because sometimes I go a little bit lower than I should because I can't be bothered to do it. I want to do it as like a once every 2 month type of thing of a groom. But you go a little bit shorter because you know it's going to grow back. But my wife hates it. She prefers, hairy legs, hairy chest.
Mine does.
It's manly.
Mine does as well. So, I mean, that for me, like through age or genetics or whatever, and I think it is possibly more age than anything else, is the hairs on my legs have pretty much disappeared. So people ask me if I shave my legs. I'm like, no, I don't. There's still hair there, but it's pretty sparse. So it looks like it's kind of rubbed off. But I mean, like chest hair, there's not a lot, to be honest. There never has been, but I certainly don't shave that. I think the last time I was body painted for a particular event, so I did shave the hair for that because it just made it easier. But I haven't shaved since, and that was over a year ago.
Yeah. So even shaving your head, James, even for bald guys, shaving your head is a little bit like shaving your armpits and legs, isn't it? It's more of a fashion thing.
I think, for me, just to kind of get it gone is then I don't think about it. I can't see the fact that I have receded and that there's nothing up here, that it is just round here and at the back.
Yeah. But what's wrong with it just being at the sides and the back? It's like, is it a cultural thing because people?
It's a very personal. It's a very personal thing, but I think it represents age, looking old. I think for me. So actually, if it isn't there, then I'm not reminded of it. The fact that it doesn't grow And yeah, again, it just makes me feel kind of smarter. I think if it kind of grew here, it would grow at sort of funny angles and wouldn't be even and things like that. So yeah, just to kind of get it gone is a thing
So it's
for
a
me.
cosmetic thing to make you feel better, just like being well kept. But realistically, it's a psychological thing, isn't it? Because you could probably have it quite well groomed, sort of like a Prince William type of thing. You know, he's kept the horseshoe.
So guys that have got it sort of at the side here and then have a kind of little stringy ponytail at the back, that's probably the look I'd go for, you know.
Yeah. Like as I've got older, you know, there was a point where I was thinking I'm going to get hair transplants and then hair tattoos and stuff because of receding hairline. And as I got older, I care less about it. But then I thought if I did lose my hair, I would shave it off like you. And now I'm in the mindset of if I lose my hair, I'm just going to keep it at the sides. I kind of like it when I see a guy with the horseshoe hair at the sides and a pair of glasses. I think he looks intelligent, and he looks like
another thing on that is actually, and I'm exactly the same. So, but my hair's really quite straight. Now, if it was quite curly like yours has got a little bit of curl to it, and that looks really cool. I think
it looks all right, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, grey, and it's combed back, but like mine would just sort of hang. So mine doesn't go curly, so it would just sort of I don't think it would look right. If there was a curl to it and it was kind of wavy and you could have it, you know, then it's possible that I would grow it, to be fair.
Because ironically, with this type of stuff, you know, when I see guys with, I'm not judging people with hair transplants or, you know, hair tattoos, but when I see people with it, in my head, what I see is insecurity. And that's the first thing that comes into my mind. And it's like the reverse of what they're trying to do in terms of portray this, you know, this version of themselves and to look good. But as soon as I see it, I think to myself, oh, in my head, and I'm somebody who was going to get hair transplants, so I'm not judging them, but all I'm thinking is why can't you just expand on your personality and do something in the world instead of, like, if you was really making moves in the world, would you be worrying about your hairline? Like if you was saving children and building something and doing stuff.
It feels like a form of body dysmorphia, doesn't it? When you see guys that kind of, you know, the eyebrows are very kind of fashioned and the beard's very fashioned.
Hairline is turkey
like
done
straight
like
across
a bloody...
and sort of down, and just, you know, and then they potentially can't see it because for them it's probably not perfect enough, or it doesn't look as groomed as they would like it to. But to the casual observer, it's too much because your body hair doesn't grow like that. It isn't that perfect. It's all over the place. You know, yes, you can kind of, I mean, I kind of shave this to a bit there and I do these bits here just to kind of keep it tidy. But like, you know, none of this is under here, but it kind of hopefully looks normal. I certainly don't color the gray.
No, it doesn't look like OTT straight. You know, when you see people and then it's like they've got straight angles everywhere and it's anything overly done seems to look worse. If you've got a lot of money like Elon Musk, he's had his hair done, whoever he's done it with has done a good job. It doesn't look doesn't look
and
too
I think it's getting
fake,
better and better now. It is getting better.
They've done a good job with that, and it's like with plastic surgery, isn't it? You go to some surgery, it looks terrible. You go to others, and you think, "Oh my god, it actually does look amazing." So I'm not, you know, I get it. People want to look better, but I don't know. You know, would Einstein be sitting there thinking, "Oh man, I need to get a hair transplant"? It just, when you're making moves in the world and you're securing yourself and you're doing positive things, I just think it's going to be the last thing on your mind. I think it's a psychological issue. And I think maybe we've got a cultural cancer in general, James, when it comes to the hair thing. And it's just a symptom of our mindset that we're all a little bit lost. And we're just, you know, we are walking down the street like sheep, aren't we? sort of following each other, trying to impress, status signaling, that type of thing. So I get it. We're sort of all in that camp, which leads us on to high heels, James, which is another one. I'm sure you've been on nights out with your wife or your daughters where you've seen them in a certain footwear and you think, oh Jesus Christ, this looks like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. Why are we doing this?
I know.
To be honest, I do not like high heels at all. I know for some guys and for some women, they want to, elongate their body, make them look good and stuff like that, make their legs look long. I don't like the way women walk in them. I don't like the way they look. Makes me feel uncomfortable. But they are, in some realms, women would say, a corporate necessity. And there's a lot of women that message me to say, look, I didn't want to wear them, but it was like corporate uniform. They was like forced to wear them, James.
Yeah. So why does it make you feel uncomfortable?
I think it's imagining my own foot at a point in this shoe walking in these hard. I get uncomfortable just wearing normal. If I wear a normal hard shoe, I always seem to get blisters because I never wear them anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But when I see a woman wearing a hard, pointy shoe on tiptoe,
being shoved down into the toe, you think you've got a heel that's up like that, and everything, yeah.
Then you're walking downstairs on bumpy ground, and you're walking, and then you think to yourself, you spend hours in these things, like all day. And I remember having a client back in the day, bless her, and at the end of the day, she was probably in late 20s, 30s, and she took off her shoes, and I looked at her feet, and I was like, I didn't say anything at the time, but I was thinking, oh shit, they're in the shape of the shoe.
Yeah, it's like the big toe kind of folds over the next toe just to accommodate, to fit into that point.
The feet she was a beautiful young woman, and her foot was deformed. And I was like, oh, that was the first time I really took notice of that. And she used to very expensive shoes and things like that to work, and looked, very fashionable, but function-wise, terrible.
I think it was ancient Japanese culture that they would bind the feet of women, to keep them small. I mean, imagine that.
I didn't know much about that until someone mentioned it in the comments, and I looked into that foot binding in China, and oh my God, it is horrific. It was like pig stumps, wasn't it? It's like pig hooves, they look like.
They'd have to take small sort of steps because they couldn't take a full...
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I was thinking when you were talking earlier about, societal norms and fashion and trends, you think of Rubens, the painter Rubens, and the Rubenesque body, and the fact that, plump hips and sort of bigger stomachs, if that era was seen as attractive because it represented fertility. So because a painter of the time was making representations of the female form in that way, that then took hold in society, that was the perception. Or was it just reflecting what was in society? So it's like the chicken and the egg. Was it the art that was influencing culture, or was it culture that was influencing art? But Rubens certainly depicted women in that particular way. They were, they were plumper, they were, and seen as more attractive. So it's been going on through hundreds of years of representation, but it's the cultural norms, the representations, which one came first. As a society, who are we looking to? We're looking to celebrity, fashion models, but what is accepted as being attractive. Now, if more and more women in that sphere come out with hair, with shoes that aren't pointed, more kind of barefoot type shoes, and that's now accepted as being comfortable, they're happy in themselves as a result, whatever that looks like, is that then a groundswell that's going to enable more women to go, well, actually, that's okay then, I can do that. So is this kind of counterculture thing that it just takes maybe one or two women like Ariana Grande or the Kardashians to come out and do something that will enable other women to accept that actually we can do that.
It seems to be the way, doesn't it? Like a domino
it's
effect
all
from the
financially
top.
motivated, isn't it? In terms of fashion.
I remember African clients I used to have. A Nigerian lady used to train as well. I was speaking to her husband, who had a bit of a pot belly, and then I was joking around with him about training, and he said when he goes to Africa, they love it because it's a signal of wealth, isn't it? It's like if you've got a six pack, it's like basically saying you're poor because you're hungry,
malnourished.
You're malnourished. The fatter you are, the more wealthy you are. So it is a status signal to be like that. I know in some of those African cultures, they proper fatten up the wife before she gets married. I think that's the thing to really get her as big as possible. So yeah, it just depends, isn't it, on the culture at the time, the status signaling, the fashion trends. But once you can make money from something, it seems to enter a new dimension, doesn't it? And can sort of proliferate for a longer period of time. So you got to really question why you're really doing something after a while, especially if you're spending a lot of time and money into something and you think, oh man, is this really necessary? Do I need to shave my legs every day as a woman, or could I get away with grooming once a month? Would that be okay?
Yeah,
probably be fine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of moving on to that kind of the barefoot thing, just as an observation on my part, that I ran a 10K race a couple of years ago, completely barefoot, so nothing on my feet at all. And there was probably 800 runners, maybe. And I was the only one that wasn't wearing shoes. Literally and there weren't many that were wearing barefoot trainers. They were all in very traditional shoes that I could observe.
Yeah.
And people in the crowd were like, "Oh my, he's not wearing any shoes."
Yeah.
And it was a fascinating kind of experiment for me, because like I did it because I was going to do a challenge of running a half marathon barefoot. And this was the build up to it. This was just prior to COVID, and the actual event got cancelled because of COVID. So I didn't do it in the end. But we're just unaware of what we can actually endure and achieve unless we try it. Because again, social norms are such that it's ludicrous to think that we could do something because it's not normal. So outside of the realms of normalcy. So like going for a run without any shoes on. But again, the inner monologue or the inner dialogue was saying, people are going to look at you like you're crazy. And again, that sort of sense of embarrassment of going out running without any shoes on, that you're drawing attention to yourself. So that was another thing that I hadn't actually factored in. I just want to go out for a run. I don't want to draw attention to myself. But it's entirely possible. It's uncomfortable.
And that was becoming more common, isn't it? You see people wearing barefoot shoes, 5-finger toe shoes. So, we're both from the PT background, and we know that it changes your biomechanics once you start putting massive pillows on your feet, running around, changes changes the biomechanics and forces going through your body.
You think of how flat a normal trainer is with edges that you strike on the outside and you roll inwards. That's the natural movement for the foot. So you're striking here, you're going smack like that with a flat shoe. So it should be a smooth transition from that heel strike through to toe off, and landing much more all of the foot as opposed to heel strike to toe or toe striking only. Flat foot run or barefoot running is very much landing with all of the foot and as light as you can. So you're banging into the ground with normal trainers and also getting this slapping effect because it's so flat on the bottom.
Yeah, you weaken your feet, don't you? All of a sudden it changes the biomechanics going all the way through your knees, your hips, your back. So we're probably seeing so much chronic back issues. A lot of it is stemming from very, very weak feet. But this is something that's not really being talked about much, isn't it? It's not really mainstream. It is sort of backdoor talk around
niche.
it. It's still niche, but eventually you can see them people looking back in time thinking, oh man, these people, of course they was getting musculoskeletal injuries. They're wearing these massive pillows on their feet, running around thinking that's going to be okay. That's not going to be normal. Yeah, you can wear shoes to protect your feet from stones and things like that, but they should be sort of more zero drop, more flexible on the sole. But that type of thing, people will think you're crazy, and it seems innocuous, doesn't it, to talk about just shoes? Oh, what do shoes matter? But they actually do. They change your whole function of your whole body.
Physiology.
So,
well, using your plumbing analogy, see, I remember those comments, mate, that you make. So, like, you fixed a leak down here, but there's something else going on further up the pipe that you've ignored. So you're sorting out your feet down here, making them more comfortable, but you haven't thought about the downstream effects and how it impacts the kinetic chain up here. And the feet, everything starts with the feet. You think about the ground reaction that happens there, that goes into the ankle, that then transfers up to the knee, up into the hip into the lower back, and then transfers up through the chain to the upper back. So the knee invariably is symptomatic of the ankle and the hip. So it feeds down into the knee. So it's never the knee's fault unless you've actually impacted the knee directly. It's always the ankle, it's always the hip, or both, that then cause the knee problems. So everything from the big toe, the way that functions, if that's not functioning correctly, it feeds into the ankle, the knee, the hip. So everything.
It can be worse for women as well. You've got that Q angle, wider hips going down into the knee joint there, and then they're wearing higher heels. So, calves are permanently contracted. They can't absorb any impact through the calves because they're always contracted. And then all of a sudden, you're getting all sorts of problems with hamstrings tighten up, hips start to shift, back pain, knee pain. That's why a lot of women will struggle when they start doing running, especially if they've been wearing high heels for a long period of time. But people don't realize this because you grew up with it. You buy your Nike trainers, your high heels is the thing. You're expected to wear it in corporate. It's normalcy, but crazy. So that's something that we got to switch up.
And people will take their lead from athletes as well. If they see athletes wearing, they think, well, these guys doing this for a living, and they're at the top of their game, and this is a shoe they're wearing. Therefore, it must be right for me. If it's right for them, then it must be right for me.
Yeah. And ironically, like, athletic shoes are very light, very flat, zero drop. They are like barefoot shoes. If you look at sort of sprinting track shoes, football boots, relatively the same, quite flat, wide, more like a reasonably flexible nowadays.
Yeah, so, I was going to say they were quite rigid, but they've become more flexible.
Back in the day, because the ball was so heavy, but in general they become more like slippers now, but could be a lot better. That moves us on to last one. We'll go cereal, James. Cereal was the one that came in as well on the list. So sugar cereal, Mr. Kellogg, who was a Seventh-day Adventist, who was trying to suppress sexual urges apparently with his.
Well, I didn't know that, mate. That's news to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it.
But also coining the
birth rate's gone down, isn't it?
Yeah, but that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That was a nice bit of marketing, wasn't it? Yeah.
So in general, our primitive ways, we wouldn't have woken up at any point in history and just had food laid out for us. We would have had to go on and forage or do something when we hunt to gather food first. And nowadays is the accessibility of it, but the ease and the sugar. James, you eat the stuff, it doesn't fill you up. Like we said, we both loved a crunchy nut cornflake, didn't we, or a Cocoa Pops. It's
like
like eating
cocaine.
cake, isn't it? Pretty much. It's so you can do a box easily.
I do about. So I would put too much milk in and end up with a bowl full of milk, and then I go, well, clearly I've got to put some more crunchy nut cornflakes in that.
You just have to, yeah.
And then when you finish that bowl, we go, yeah, no, I'm probably going to do another bowl in.
Yeah, yeah. Then you think, oh, might as well finish this box.
And then it's so much sugar that your lips start to stick together, and you're like,
yeah.
oh God, I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done
Yeah,
that.
and you're still hungry. Like an hour later, you're
Well,
still
yeah,
hungry,
I was going to say an hour later, and you're bloody famished again.
But you do this with kids, and there's no surprise. Not just with kids, but we've got 70% of people are overweight or obese. It's like a Western epidemic, isn't it? It's like with the excess of sugar, terrible meat products.
Yeah.
And it's just it became ingrained as a norm that you would just have sugar cereal with cow's milk as your breakfast. And it wasn't just the norm, it was like ingrained into your culture, isn't it? Like the breakfast, the whole gimmicks around it, the cartoons, everything about it was.
So you've got the milk marketing board, you've got the dairy, the egg industry saying go to work on an egg. That was another one from when I was a kid. Go to work on an egg.
Yeah.
So they're
when
all
in reality it's completely unnecessary.
Ready Brek kids. You've got kids going to school with that Ready Brek glow. Do you remember that? Maybe that was past your sort of time, but that was the thing as well, that kids are getting sent to school with Ready Brek.
Yeah. Even Ready Brek was an upgrade, wasn't it? I guess on
as a better
on the cereals. But in general, again, this just became the norm, the unquestionable norm. If you said anything about it, you'd be seen as like you're a bit insane, really. But it was, I don't know if it's, your kids are older, my kids are older. I don't know, because I haven't had breakfast cereal in, 15, 20 years. Or 20, 20 minutes. It's got to be 25 years. I can't remember eating breakfast the last time I had breakfast cereal. That's all. Can you, James? Are you a breakfast cereal guy? You like your maybe a muesli?
I had a bowl of porridge this morning, I must admit, with goji berries and sultanas mixed in, a little bit of cinnamon. Lovely.
Really nice. That's what I would have. Maybe the odd, muesli. People can debate how good that type of stuff is, or porridge, but in terms of like buying Cocoa Pops or Crunchy Nut Cornflakes or any of these sugar-based cereals, it's got to be 25 years. It's got to be childhood for me since I had those type of things. But I don't know if they're still popular now. I don't know if they've clamped down on the marketing for them, because it is.
If the supermarket's got anything to do with it, then no.
Yeah,
I think
the aisle
is a lot of cereals now that claim to have added protein, and it was all about protein.
Okay, fortified with vitamins, isn't it? They like that type of analogy.
But high protein cereals now are a thing. But you've got big companies. I don't know. There are some in the UK as well that have gone sort of protein and low sugar, or no sugar, low carb type thing.
Yeah, seems to be the rage, doesn't it? They've moved it on. I guess like whey
category.
Yeah, whey protein being the offcut of cheese in the dairy industry, didn't know really what to do with it, did they? It was just a complete waste. And then they thought, okay, this is bioavailable protein, and a whole industry crops up with whey protein shakes. Then all of a sudden is like you need to have 30 grams of protein every single meal, like 5 times a day, and you're just like, really?
Who's deciding? Who's deciding all of these parameters? It's like, the BMI being decided in the sort of 1950s that, what was a healthy BMI.
Yeah.
But it was just.
But this was drilled into us, James, as PTs. This 200 grams a day protein on average for a man this is what we was taught in our premier personal training courses. Like, you get your clients to eat a lot of protein. I'm thinking that's a lot of protein.
That's a lot of protein. That's a lot of protein. The majority of it gets excreted anyway. That there's only a certain level of protein synthesis.
Yeah. But I was pushing this in my early 20s as a PT. I was like, yeah, you have your protein shakes. That's what exactly. And I ended up with kidney stones after, excessive protein. But you think of it, how brainwashed I was in terms of these protein shakes, and you need this amount of protein and stuff. I don't eat a fraction of the protein I used to. And I don't train like I used to, but my body's not that different. It's not drastically different at all, to be honest.
No.
But it's it's a crazy one. But anything else to add to that, James?
No, I think we've done that entirely justice, haven't we?
I think so. Yeah, it was a big subject, and normally we would have had comments on LinkedIn, but something going on with
I think LinkedIn probably have blocked it. I'm not being controversial or conspiracy theorist, but I'm thinking maybe LinkedIn didn't want that.
No, it just says LinkedIn. We're having trouble streaming it to LinkedIn. This may be an issue on LinkedIn's end. We'll keep trying to let you know if it's resolved.
Yeah,
so
I reckon I'm going to go down the conspiracy route, mate, and say that LinkedIn didn't want that subject matter. It was too hot to handle.
Yeah, maybe it's the shaving companies have got into the ear of LinkedIn and banned us, I would suggest. But
right.
Anyway, James, great to catch up again, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys. Yeah, we'll do one Monday. Take care, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Love to all.